the Expo Alpha Wrestle Gaming segment is here. So we have ran the 16-bit era of video games, the 32-bit, when wrestling games went 3D, what games came out on different consoles at the same time by the same publishers. We've ran lots of different wrestling game segments. But what we haven't ran is the strangest hidden characters in wrestling games, because there's been some bizarre ones over the years. I mean, dude, do you want to run down the list? Because there is some bizarre ones out here. Perhaps that if you're not really a gamer, you might not even know who they are. And the character I'm thinking there is Turok.
I mean, some of them as well. It's not even a case of like being anybody anyone would know. Like in WCW NWO Revenge, there's AKI man, who is the people that make it. It's the company's name man, and he's dressed like their logo. It's completely ridiculous. And then of course the bosses of WrestleMania 19. And it's the Master Builder and Black Widow and Sergeant Gregory.
Sergeant Gregory, that was it, yeah. So WrestleMania 19 was a strange game when it was.
Characters.
So in 2018, 2K18, you could play as KFC's mascot, Colonel Sanders.
Because of course,
Ric Flair, of course, is currently sporting the Colonel Sanders look.
Woo!
Get yourself some chicken, boy.
You went all redneck for that. What was that? Dear God.
So there was, in 2K11, in WrestleMania, I guess it was still Raw and SmackDown versus 2011, there was the character of Druid.
Yeah, one of the druids that bring out things for The Undertaker and Kane and that. You could play as the druid. Why would you want to? I suppose it's alright for a jobber to beat up, but...
I guess that's what it is. It's a character. His model's in the game. Let's do something with him. No one's going to play as him anyway, but hey.
Yeah, but all the times, there has been so many other times where wrestlers have turned commentator and such, and they're in the game, but they don't make it as a character. Corey Graves, he's only had one appearance in any of the SmackDown series games.
Yes, 2K. But yeah, 13.
I don't think it was that long ago. Maybe 15 or 16.
Yeah, me too.
But still, it's been a couple of years since he has, but he's been on commentary every year since.
Yes.
Yeah, some of the rosters of those games have been so thin that Jim Ross has made it as a character.
Jim Ross actually...
Michael Cole has made it as a character.
Yeah, they've actually popped up a few times as wrestlers, haven't they? In games. And Paul Bearer has popped up a few times. And what's the game where Paul Bearer's in it, but he's got like loads of cruiserweight moves? He's like got...
It's brilliant.
He's got like 450 splashes and swanton bombs. Yeah, you know, I actually want to say it was like... Was it Attitude? Where that was the case? Oh man, I'm just... It
may have been. Obviously, that would have been a definite rip. Absolutely, that's brilliant.
So there was in WF Attitude, I guess that's what we're talking about now. There was Head, as in Al Snow's head, where it was just a pair of hands and a pair of feet and the head.
Yeah, I mean, who booked that as well?
Completely invisible, transparent character.
With like that period of wrestling games, there was Warzone's Ring Girls who come out with like the number cards because, you know, Raw 1993.
Yes. Do you think that's a missing?
Amazing because Warzone didn't come out until '98.
You know what? You're right on that. But perhaps that was something that happens at the shows that we didn't get to see, that the Ring Girls still existed. You know,
maybe, but I can't imagine that being the case. But then again, during that time period, they got Sunny to come out and do everything else. So,
you know what?
She wasn't a wrestler and she wasn't with anybody, so they got her to come out and do commentary or guest announcing.
Yeah. So we had in Attitude's precursor that was WF Warzone, you had Turok, which I mentioned earlier, because I just think it's such a random thing. But I guess unless Acclaim, who are the producers of Warzone and Attitude, they also published Turok the Dinosaur Hunter. and he was featured in the game. It had the moves of The Rock because he had like the Rock Bottom as his finisher, tornado DDTs, and I guess Acclaim just stuck him in there because it was their license, so they wanted to go. There's someone in here who's our character. We've got to have this too. We've got to have our slice of this.
Well, you've got to make sure you put over your other games through wrestling games.
Yeah, why not? I guess why not? And I'm looking at that list, and I'm also talking about that. So, I'm trying to put over your own list. THQ staff, the staff of THQ, the developers of WCW NWA Thunder appeared in the game. Whether they appeared in the Nitro but that came before, I don't remember. But they're definitely in Thunder. But these were characters that no one's ever going to play as. But
No.
if you were a developer, that was pretty cool.
Kind of. It'd be great to see yourself get jackknifed by Kevin Nash, I guess, without actually taking the bump yourself. But, yeah. But who cares? Who's picking them? I mean, I can understand because, as I mentioned before, WCW Nitro came out first and that had 64 characters. And then, of course, to make it bigger, they brought out Thunder and they had 128 characters. And as soon as you've used all of the wrestlers, all of the managers, all of the commentators, all of the refs, you might as well go with your staff. And then after that, you go for, as I've mentioned here, the Wackies.
I don't remember the Wackies, so you're going to have to inform me on this one.
The Wackies were just a collection of ridiculous things. It's like, oh, I know what we shall do. We will have a praying mantis as a wrestler, or a star, or a cowboy, an alien, a horse, a knight, just random things like that.
I must have missed that. I'm trying to work out if I ever actually had Thunder, and that's probably why. Because I'm probably glad I didn't in many ways.
To be honest, if anybody's played Nitro or Thunder, you'll know that there's the only one reason you own that game, and it was only on the PlayStation version as well.
Yeah,
was the promo section. You press a different button on the character select screen, and then they'd go into a rant.
Yeah, and that was the only reason.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin Nash would sit there and go, like, don't pick me. Go pick Hogan. Go pick Piper. You don't have the dexterity or the mental skills. And you go over to Piper, and you press on his, he goes, pick me! Pick me! Kevin Nash said don't pick him, pick me! Why? Because everyone's got to pay the Piper.
I can remember you could make the game faster by turning like the ring graphics off and turning the crowd off. So you had a superly fast ring what ran at like a higher frame rate.
Turbo ring.
Yeah.
It literally was like the box for the ring and ropes without any posts and no audience.
No. But the game suddenly played much faster. It was like 60 frames a second after that. Something stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, but why did you want to? Because there's only like 8 moves in the entire game.
Yeah, just up powerbomb. Up and circle for powerbomb, down and circle for power driver. And everyone had exactly the same fucking move list.
It was like button combinations.
No, you're right, yeah. You're right.
It was like for a suplex, it was like circle, triangle, X.
That was it, yeah.
Or for a power drive, it was circle, square, triangle, something like that. It was 3 button combinations.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, up XX circle, yeah, that was it.
Yeah. They were pretty games. They were really nice to look at. At that time, there was way nicer looking than Warzone and Attitude. But Warzone and Attitude had much better gameplay at that time.
Yeah. And when you play it now, it's like, oh my god, forward.
Yeah, it's kind of like Street Fighter moves to get moves out of them. I mean, Attitude had a much better creator wrestler option and a bigger roster, but Warzone had a smaller roster but so many moves.
Yes.
You could pause and have a look at the moves list, and then there was hidden ones as well.
See, I actually liked the hidden moves, the fact they weren't on there, because in the time of pre-internet, or really early internet, the way you got around it is you read magazines, you talked to your friends who knew what moves were, and you always had that mate who didn't know what they were, and you could beat the fuck out of them.
Yeah.
And actually, that was a really good community thing. And even when I play like Warzone, that I might put it on, I can still remember them as well. So.
Yeah, and it was funny as well because you had all your moves in that, and if you was Mankind, prime example, you could do your mandible claw finisher.
Or you did it.
If you knew the secret combination, you could do it to the opponent who was laying on the floor.
Yes, you could.
You could go over to the head and do the secret combination and do the mandible claw on the ground. And it was like, wow, that's awesome. You could do his finisher from different positions. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's like the Taker and Kane had the same moves actually in that game, but they had like the choke slam, and there was like the hidden choke slam from a grapple.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Bam.
But that was true. That was cool, and I was like, I thought The Rock had like a hidden Hurricane Rana, and Triple H had like a senton off the top or something stupid.
Yeah, and Shawn Michaels had the figure four, which was,
Yes.
I thought was cool. I love the fact that he had that.
Yeah.
Because it was a move that he occasionally did, but not always. It was rare that he did do it.
Yes. Like Taker's like Taker's drop toe hold. It was in there only because he did it rarely.
Yeah. It was nicely done. It was well done.
But so other characters that kind of sit around that kind of era then. So you have in 2K16, which is perhaps the worst of the 2K games in my opinion. There was Terminator. There was Arnold Schwarzenegger in there for no reason whatsoever.
Oh, it's because Arnold Schwarzenegger went into the Hall of Fame that year, so obviously the Terminator needs to be in there.
Which still makes no sense. Why was he even nominated?
Because he turned up on a SmackDown once, and Triple H was having a match, and Triple H tried to get the title to whack the opponent, and Arnie wouldn't give it him. Then Arnie would give him like a backhand, and then gave him some of the worst fake punches I think I've ever seen.
Wait,
oh my god!
Is
I'm
there?
going to try and find that as well on the network and post that so people know what they're looking for.
Is there a potential then that characters like Jerry Springer and Donald Trump actually might enter the Hall of Fame?
Donald Trump is in the Hall of Fame.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
The thing's, he actually took that like a full trooper as well. That thing with Vince McMahon, he did a full-on fucking spear. He got those punches in there. He actually is great. Got the chair shots in there and everything. Yeah, Donald Trump was a fucking trooper.
Do you know what? In all fairness to him as well, I think it was the WrestleMania where it was, the
Battle of the Billionaires.
The Battle of the Billionaires, where they used the avatar versions of themselves to beat each other up. Bobby Lashley versus Umaga.
Yeah.
And the billionaire that lost ended up getting his head shaved.
Yes.
And Trump actually took a Stone Cold Stunner.
He did, and it's just like that's great.
Do you know what? Vince put it forward. Trump says, "Will it help the angle?" Vince said yes, and apparently all of his minders were like, "No, you can't do that. You can't do anything physical. No.
Let's do it."
Like, no, I'm taking it. I mean, don't get me wrong; it's one of the worst stunners ever. But all the power to him. He took it. He took that.
That's a guy who literally believed in what he was doing. And like you said there, will it make it better? Yes, and he did it. Trooper.
Will it help it get over? And it did.
Full trooper. So is there anybody else on that list? Because I'm looking down it and I'm going, do I even want to dare mention Tony from 2009 SmackDown?
Tony was a military personnel. I think they had a repeatedly cut and paste in one of their tribute to the troops.
That was it. Yes.
Background type things. So they decided to use him for a storyline, and for whatever reason they decided to put him on a...
You know what? I actually remember that now. I do. I can remember that now. When you said that, it kind of trickled through, and I was like, I remember. And in SmackDown 2010, there was Red and Green. What the hell's that? I don't remember that.
Red and Green. They was the characters from, when you're picking your moves for your created wrestler.
Yeah.
Red would take it, Green would perform it.
Right.
Or you could use the Red and Green characters.
Okay, fair enough.
Because of course, that's what I wanted to do. It's like, oh no, can I use Triple H or K? Yes, but I don't want to. I want to use Red and Green. I want to make Red and Green the tag team champions because awesome.
And perhaps the strangest one out of all is the most random one, is yourself. Create a character in WWF WrestleMania Challenge.
Yes, they knew that you obviously couldn't, create a wrestler back in the 8-bit era, so they created a character called Yourself. You could play as yourself to win the World Championship.
Yeah.
We've also missed one more as well.
Have we ever missed one?
Fred Durst.
SmackDown Just Bring It, which was like 2001, 2?
Just bring it. No. Yes. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right. Yeah, 2001.
So again,
the first PlayStation one. PlayStation 2.
It was, yeah, one that had very small roster of characters. So yeah, it's obviously when Taker was sporting his big red machine. No, what was it? What was it? Big
The
Evil.
American Badass.
Yeah, the Big Evil. Which I expected when he came back last time. That's what he would be like. He'd be on the back on his motorcycle again. But hey, these things happen. Of course, Rolling was his music, and Fred Durst was the player. But yeah, he was in there as a character, wasn't he?
Yeah. Even complete with the last ride finisher. Because that's what you want to see. A red cap midget. Like, last riding everyone.
I'm now wondering, did Fred Durst turn up in Anarchy Rules as well? In the ECW game? Because he's on the intro, isn't he? Because there was that whole thing with Steve Corino and Fred Durst where he'd come out and slapped his microphone over his hand, which ECW ran. I was part of their promos for like ages after that, and I'm now thinking actually Fred Durst was in.
Of course they did.
Was in either Hardcore Revolution or Anarchy Rules, because there was a bunch of stupid characters in there as well.
Because of course there was.
Yeah, of course there was. I'm actually tempted to have a look now. ECW Anarchy Rules.
Dramatic pause.
Yes. Character list. Let's go. Because someone's bound to create a list out there. Because people love creating lists. Like Wikipedia. Do we dare? Do we dare look on there? No, just loads of mobs. In all fairness, thinking about W Anarchy Rules, as I used to be Anarchy Rules, there was like a lava match in that game. There was like a fire pit all around the outside. It was lava.
Of course there was.
Because yeah,
it says hardcore like lava.
Apart from the music, the game was pretty terrible actually. But
yeah, by that time they ran it on the same Warzone engine.
Yeah.
And by then it had really ran its course, with SmackDown being available and
Royal Rumble.
WCW Revenge.
Yeah.
Which were two much better engines out there at the time. And then they were still rocking that old system, which it was great in 98-99. But then SmackDown came along and just went, farewell to that rubbish. Look at this. It's gorgeous everywhere. And we have moves. And we have rosters bigger than anything you've seen.
No, he wasn't on the roster. However, I see Cyrus is there, commentator. And Elektra was on there as well. And Joel Gertner were actually playable characters, but no, Fred Durst wasn't. So my memory might have been slipping me there. But hey.
But even then, you could still argue the fact that Cyrus was actually an active wrestler in the WWE.
He was, yeah.
And Joel Gertner was involved in a couple of matches in ECW.
He was indeed.
I can't say the same for Elektra, but still.
Who was it who took the power driver through the table? That was Francine, wasn't it? Rhino power driver through the table, yeah.
And Sandman's wife.
Yeah, she took it pretty bad as well. She went wrestling again after that.
She also was cradled in Sandman's arms, and Rhino saw fit to
pull beard chest.
Sandman through the table while he was still holding her.
Nice spot as well.
Which was an up down.
Yeah, no, that was the roster didn't have that. But so that was our Wrestle gaming feature for this week. That was pretty crazy actually, because the amount of stuff that was actually going on in that. So that was the strangest hidden characters ever to be found in wrestling games. If you've got any more, because I bet there are out there, because I'm thinking of games now like some of the random Japanese ones that are bound to have featured stupid stuff, like Pepsi Man or some shit like that. If you know them, post them in the links below, because I want to see more bizarre characters in wrestling games. So this, from me, then, this is Kristian, that's Kev, we're out of here. Thank you very much for joining us here today. This was Wrestle DX myself. Follow us on Twitch, as well as on Facebook and on... I guess we have to have a Twitter set up, right? Because people, I guess, are going to want to message our way, and we need to get more social out there. But do follow us on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch, and we will see you on the next game, our next episode rather, very, very soon.